The road through Black Mesa. There are places across the American Southwest where the sky feels deeper than night, and the silence feels older than time itself. Places the Navajo people speak of quietly, with respect, and avoid once darkness falls. This is the story of what happened to a young researcher named Daniel Reeves on one of those roads near Black Mesa. The night he learned why locals fear the ones known as Yinaldlushi, Skinwalkers, the shapeshifters of shadow. This is Whispers by Dark. Daniel Reeves was fresh out of college, eager and overly confident, driving across the reservation for a nighttime wildlife survey assignment. His mentor, Elias Begay, had given him simple instructions earlier that week. Don't drive the back roads after dark. If you have to, windows up, don't whistle, and don't stop for anything. Not anything. Daniel brushed it off as superstition. Now, with the sun gone and the desert swallowed by darkness, he was regretting how lightly he took those words. The dirt road twisted between mesas and dry ravines. His GPS flickered unhelpfully as he followed the route by instinct. That was when he saw it. A figure stood in the middle of the path ahead, perfectly still. Dust rose into the headlights, revealing the shape. A coyote. At least, that's what it looked like. It stood tall, held itself too rigid, almost upright, like something trying to remember how to be an animal. Coyotes don't lock eyes with cars. They don't stand motionless in headlights. This one did. Daniel tapped the horn. It didn't move. Instead, its head turned with unnatural slowness, the neck bending a little too far, a little too fluid. A cold shiver crawled through Daniel's chest. Then, without warning, it stood on its hind legs, just for a moment, as if testing the shape. Daniel gasped, and the creature dropped down again, sprinting into the brush with impossible speed. Heart pounding, he continued driving. 10 minutes later, Daniel rolled past a narrow ravine. His window was cracked open an inch for ventilation. A voice drifted up from the darkness below.
Help! Somebody! Please!
Daniel's foot slammed the brakes. A human voice out here, at this hour. He killed the engine and listened.
Help me! I'm hurt!
But something was off. The pacing, the tone. Every phrase sounded as though repeated from memory, rather than spoken naturally. Elias's warning echoed in Daniel's mind. Some things out here copy voices, but they don't copy fear or emotion. The voice called again, this time louder, perfectly identical. Daniel's breath stopped. He rolled up his window, turned the key, and drove away fast, refusing to look back. The desert road stretched endlessly ahead. Daniel's hands tightened on the steering wheel. A flicker of movement in his rearview mirror caught his attention. A shadow, large, fast. It darted across the road behind him, then rose up, tall and thin, before dropping low again. Daniel accelerated, 40, 50, 60 miles per hour on unstable dirt. The shadow kept up, matching his speed, never falling behind. Daniel's pulse raced. He grabbed the radio. Elias! Elias, come on! Static. Then, don't look at it. Don't speak to it. Keep driving. I'm on my way. Daniel's breath trembled. He didn't dare look in the mirror again. Rounding the next bend, Daniel's headlights illuminated a figure blocking the road. A woman, thin, trembling, hair tangled and long. She raised one arm and pointed directly at him. Then she opened her mouth. Stop your truck! Daniel froze. The voice wasn't hers. It wasn't close. It was perfect. A flawless imitation of his mentor. She stepped toward the truck with uneven, puppet-like movements, her limbs bending too late or too early, as though copying human gestures without understanding them. Her lips curled into an unnatural smile. "Let me in." Daniel threw the truck into gear and swerved around her, the vehicle bouncing wildly over the dirt. He didn't check the mirror. He didn't slow down. He didn't breathe until he'd put distance between them. Scraping noises suddenly echoed along the truck's side. Then again and again. Something was running beside him, close, fast. Daniel stared only at the road ahead, refusing to look out the window. The radio crackled again. "You're close! Keep going! Don't stop for anything!" Finally, at the end of the twisted road, a lantern glowed faintly. Elias stood beside his old pickup truck, waving him forward urgently. Daniel braked hard, skidding to a stop. Elias slapped the side of the truck. "Drive! Cross the ash!" Daniel looked down at the road. A thick line of white ash stretched across the dirt. He drove over it. Instantly, all sounds behind the truck stopped. No footsteps, no scraping, nothing. Elias exhaled with relief as Daniel stepped out, shaken and pale. Out beyond the ash line, a shape stood in the darkness, tall, still, watching. It didn't cross, it didn't move, it simply observed, then slowly retreated into the shadowed desert. They drove to a small outpost to calm Daniel down. Elias brewed tea, speaking only once. Daniel's hands stopped trembling. "You crossed through one of their trails, places where the Skinwalkers move. They don't like being seen." Daniel stared into the fire. "Skinwalkers, those are just stories." Elias shook his head. "They're people who traded away the part of themselves that feels guilt, or grief, or love. In return, they gain the ability to become whatever shape they choose." Daniel swallowed, replaying the night in his mind. What did it want? A reaction, attention. Once you answer them, they don't stop. An hour later, Elias walked Daniel back to his truck. The eastern sky was glowing faintly with early dawn. Just as Daniel opened the door, Elias stiffened. "Get in, slowly." Daniel froze. Elias didn't turn around, didn't lift his gaze. Something followed us, up on the ridge. Against his better judgment, Daniel looked. A tall, narrow silhouette stood on the rocks, completely still, watching their every move. He quickly climbed into his truck. Elias whispered, "Don't worry, the sun's coming. It'll leave soon." Daniel drove away, and he never took that road again. Even now, years later, when he's alone late at night, sometimes he hears a voice outside his window, soft, familiar, calling his name, in a voice that sounds almost exactly like his own. Well, you stay safe out there, folks, and we'll see you in the next one.